Welcome to the Family Fork Podcast, a show about prioritizing anti-inflammatory nutrition so that you can lose weight, have more energy, and still feed your family meals that they will love. I'm Ashley Malik, and my mission is to give you simple solutions for nutrition so that you can finally reach the health and wellness goals that you have been after. Let's get started. All right, raise your hand if you have ever said, I've tried everything to lose weight, but nothing works. You're eating salads for lunch, you're tracking your steps, you're trying to squeeze in a workout after you leave the office, and maybe you're even suffering through dry chicken and broccoli for dinner. Ugh, it is so frustrating. If you're doing all the right things, why isn't the weight going anywhere? Well, you're not alone. I know I have felt this way before, and I hear it from clients all the time. You know, as we get older, and especially as we creep into perimenopause, losing weight can become more challenging, but sometimes there's more that we can do to kickstart weight loss. However, our brain is pretty sneaky. It makes it tough for us to see what other solutions or options are out there that we haven't tried yet. So today we are going to have a pop quiz. You ready for this? All right. I have identified 10 reasons that are likely stopping you from losing weight, and I want to go through each one with you. So you can keep score as we go through this quiz, and I've also added a link in the show notes so that you can print out the quiz and tally up your score. Because at the end of this, I'm going to want to know what your score is. All right, so are you ready? What you're going to do is you're going to give yourself 1 point for every statement that is true for you. So there will be a total of 10 possible points. All right. Number 1, the meal plan and the recipes that you're using aren't specific to your health needs. So I know I've done this too. You've probably gone on the internet, you found like some recipes that would help you lose weight or promise weight loss. And they looked so good and they looked easy too. So that was a bonus. So you just went with it. But the problem is that if you have health issues, like maybe you have hypothyroidism or you're going through perimenopause, there is a huge likelihood that you're struggling with inflammation. And so if you are curious about inflammation, be sure to listen to episode 2 where we talk more about that. But if the recipes and everything that you've grabbed from the internet, maybe they promise weight loss, but it included gluten and dairy, they're not going to help you lose weight. And even worse, sometimes the ingredients in those recipes can actually promote more inflammation. So I want you to give yourself 1 point if the meal plan and the recipes that you have aren't specific to your health needs. Okay? All right, number 2. You have collected a ton of meal plans and recipes, but you're not using them. Okay, I'm calling some of you out, I know. So it's really common. If you just take a peek in your kitchen cabinet or the downloads folder of your computer, or take a look at your Pinterest board and your Pinterest page, like be honest, how many recipes and meal plans do you really have? We like to think that if we have more information, we'll get the goal that we're looking for. But the reality is that more information is not going to help you lose weight. You kind of think that you're doing something to kickstart the weight loss and you've got all those healthy recipes, but if you're not using them, it's not going to get you very far. This is really an interesting place where brain likes to trip you up because brain would lead you to believe that you're planning and you're getting all of these recipes and that should be enough. But unfortunately, the recipes aren't going to cook themselves. So I want you to give yourself a point if you are guilty of collecting all of the meal plans and recipes, but you're not using them. Number 3, you are not learning how to cook for the long term. So I know that our lives lead us to this place where we want everything to be quick and easy. But you can't live with an easy button in your kitchen forever. If you want to take really good control of your health and wellness, you have to learn how to cook, even just some basic things. And this is especially true if you really struggle with thyroid issues or are in perimenopause, because if that's your situation, it is imperative that you are in complete control of what you eat. So a really good meal plan and sometimes recipes, they're going to teach you how to cook the right meals for your needs where you are today. And what's really great about this is that it gives you freedom later on to have more flexibility in cooking what you like, what your family likes. So if you are not learning how to cook or you're just constantly going for that easy button, I want you to give yourself a point. All right. Number 4, you are not actually following your meal plan. Now, this is a really tough pill to swallow. So you went out on the internet, you found a meal plan that promised you to have weight loss, and you're like, great, I will do that. I'll follow that meal plan. And maybe you're cooking some of the recipes from there, and some of them taste good. Some of them you're learning to modify, but maybe you're only doing that plan Monday through Friday. And on the weekends, you're just not really paying attention to what you're eating. Or maybe you have a plan in front of you that calls for no sugar, because remember, sugar is pretty inflammatory. And instead, you're going dairy-free. You're picking a dairy-free yogurt, for example, and it's flavored and it has lots of added sugar in it. That's not really following the plan that was set out for you, which is not having any extra sugar. In order to lose weight, you really have to follow the plan that you have, and you have to follow it all days of the week. I know that sounds really challenging, but if you're not losing weight and you're wondering why, this is a very common place where people get tripped up, because you have the meal plan, but if you're only following it for lunch and dinner and you're eating a lot for breakfast, or you're not following it on the weekends, it's not going to work for you. So give yourself a point if you fall into that category. And I want you to give yourself a point, but give yourself some grace, because now you know better, so you can do better. All right, number 5, the recipes and the nutrition approach that you have are not realistic for your life. So years ago, when I was getting started on my health journey, I met with a nutritionist, and she recommended that I cook and eat fresh liver 3 times a week, and that I make my own bone broth. I just looked at her with kind of deer in headlights look, because at that time in my life, I was a single mom. I was working more than 60 hours a week. I was traveling for work. There was no way I had time for any of that. And so I thought about it, and I thought, the meals that I need, the meals that you need in order to lose weight and to help your body feel better, it has to be realistic to your schedule and your obligations. Because if it's not, you're not going to stick with the plan, and then you're not going to lose weight. So if this is where you are, if you have plans or recipes, but they aren't realistic to your life, I want you to give yourself a point. Number 6, you don't have a way to ask questions. It's really easy to go on the internet and find a weight loss meal plan or even an anti-inflammatory meal plan. And a free download is great. But if you have questions, do you have anyone that you can turn to? I mean, if you're struggling to lose weight and you're sticking closely to, say, an anti-inflammatory diet, you're bound to have some questions. And maybe you just need some help changing up the ingredients, or perhaps you're curious about substitutions and maybe does this qualify as an anti-inflammatory substitution? But if you don't have anyone to ask, you're kind of going to be stuck in the water, or you're going to be spending a lot of time Googling to try and get your answer. So if you have plans or recipes, but you don't have anybody to ask a question to, give yourself a point. All right, we're getting close. How are you doing on your pop quiz so far? Number 7, you don't have any idea what portion sizes you should eat. Believe it or not, you can overeat healthy food. I'm looking at you, avocados. So I used to have, I worked for a while in a downtown office in downtown Denver, and there was this wonderful little salad bar restaurant place down on our main floor. And I would go there every day. And the salad bar had so many delicious choices, and everything was fresh and good. And I thought, oh, it's so healthy. So I would fill up on all of them. And my salads were huge. They were huge. Plus, I was getting extra dressing, and sometimes it was blue cheese because that used to be my favorite type of dressing. So, salad is a great choice when you're trying to lose weight, but it can still be too much. And when you're eating an anti-inflammatory diet, it is really, really important to get the right balance of foods. Because when you do this, sometimes I see people start anti-inflammatory and they're eating a lot of carbs, or they're eating a lot of like almond flour or nut-based baked goods because it's gluten-free and it's not using flour. But what happens is you really need the right balance. And when you find the right amounts of food that are anti-inflammatory, you're going to be full, you're going to have fewer cravings, and you will finally start to lose weight. Hurrah, right? So give yourself a point if you are probably eating more than you should, or you're eating too much of one thing, like too many carbohydrates and not enough veggies. Number 8, your workouts are not working out for you. So sometimes I work with women who are doing workouts that are just too intense. I find this a lot with women who are running, that if you are struggling with inflammation in your body, you can't have so much of an exercise or a workout that you're increasing your cortisol a significant amount. Because when you do that, you will increase the inflammation in your body. So if your workout isn't working out for you, maybe it's because the exercise, the cardio, the Zumba, the running, whatever that you're doing is just too intense. And it's actually increasing inflammation, which won't let you lose any weight. More often than not, I work with women who are probably not working out enough. And I wonder if this is for you too. I know it's not fun to admit, but really not moving your body enough is contributing to your weight loss challenges. You have to move enough every single day to burn calories. And so really, when it comes to anti-inflammatory, it's this Goldilocks amount. It has to be the right balance of workouts to see progress, but not so much that you're increasing inflammation. And we've talked about it before. My favorite is definitely strength training, but I want you to give yourself a point if your workouts are not working out for you. Number 9, your meal plan and your recipes and your approach are not meant for the long term. So I wonder if you have ever, in desperation, tried a really specialized diet or plan. So I'm thinking like low FODMAP, or maybe you've tried autoimmune protocol, which is really intense. Maybe you've done an elimination diet, or maybe you have even just tried keto or intermittent fasting. Most of these are not meant to be forever. Now, we're not going to get into keto and intermittent fasting today. I don't recommend them for women who are trying to reduce inflammation. These diets tend to increase inflammation because they can actually stress out your body, and that's just going to make it harder for you to lose weight. But as for those other approaches like low FODMAP or an elimination diet, I know that there's a desperation to lose weight and you think that that's going to get you there. But you can't eat that way forever. And eventually you have to reintroduce some of the foods. And that can be really hard to do if you're not working with a specialized practitioner. So if you've ever tried to follow a diet that really isn't meant for the long term, I want you to give yourself one more point. All right, number 10, you're not losing weight because what you need is more than just a collection of recipes. So this kind of goes back to number 2, where you might be collecting those recipes, but not even using them. But I'm curious, Have you asked yourself why you're not using them? This is really where mindset work comes in, because we have to ask ourselves, what's holding me back from trying those new recipes? What feelings come up when you try a new recipe or a new dish, but you and your family both think it's gross? I remember one night years ago, shortly after I got divorced, I tried a new recipe, and I hadn't really been the cook in my family, but I was a single mom, so I had to learn how to cook. And Jack, my son, and I took one bite of this meal and we thought it was terrible. We spit it out and we went out for takeout. But I remember thinking then that I had never really been a good cook. At that time, I only knew how to make 2 different casseroles. So I really did worry that I was never going to figure this out, and I was never going to figure out how to make good meals that both Jack and I would love. So I don't know, maybe you can relate. Maybe you think you're a terrible cook too, or maybe you're just really only willing to make something if it's super, super easy. What's happening here is that this is brain's way of keeping you from doing something that might be hard at first, because brain has just a couple of jobs, but one of them is to conserve energy. And if brain thinks, gosh, this menu or this recipe is going to be really hard, then it might lead you to think, yeah, I'm probably not even going to try that recipe anyway. It'll be too hard. But as we tell our children, the more you practice, the more time you put in, the easier things get. So it's possible that, what you need to lose weight is some healthy recipes, but you have to be in a mindset to be able to try them and to give it a go, even if it doesn't work the first or the second time. All right. I really want to know, what is your point total? Hopefully you've been keeping track as we've gone along. And if you have a 3 or higher, I want you to not feel bad about it, but I want you to recognize, whoa, there are actually a couple of areas that I could work on. Maybe this is why I haven't been losing weight. I know you want to really, really believe that you're trying everything to lose weight, but hopefully this quiz gives you a few places where you can dial in so that you can actually start losing weight. All right, so the pop quiz wasn't as bad as the ones that we have in high school, but hopefully you got some new insights about your nutrition and weight loss. Remember, there's a link to the quiz in the show notes, so check it out there. And I've also put a link to a free 7-day meal plan that is anti-inflammatory and really delicious. And it is also designed to kickstart weight loss. So be sure to check out the show notes before you close out today. So let's bring it all together. The food you eat, how much you eat, and how you feel about it is ultimately going to predict whether or not you lose the weight. My goal is to help you learn to be okay with being in control of what you eat. Because once you recognize that the choices you make actually get you to your goal, you will be unstoppable. Thank you for listening today. I am so grateful to spend this time with you. Be sure to connect with me at ashleymalik.com, where you can explore free resources, meal plans, and more. And if you found today's episode valuable, please share it on your socials so that we can help more midlife women reach their health and wellness goals. See you next time.